Hey, it's Matt Roush.
And Mike Brennan.
And we're back after a week off last week for Memorial Day with another edition of the M Squared TechCast here at MITechNews.TV.
So we have calling all the way in from Florida. I'm not sure. We were somewhere near, was it not Fort Myers? You're north of there, right, Gary?
Yeah, Sarasota, south of Tampa.
Okay,
Oh,
Sarasota.
okay.
All right.
Beautiful area.
Yes.
That's great.
So Gary Erickson from his executive search partners, he's the managing partner. Well, let's start off with your big news you sent me this morning, because it's not on our talking points, and so I didn't share that with Matt or that engineer behind the scenes here who might want to know this. So tell us a little bit about what your news is this morning, Gary.
Well, for the third year, Forbes has named us one of the top executive search companies in America, which is wonderful. And we moved up from number 2017, we were number 200. We're now number 59, and we're number 1 in Michigan. So it's great.
Wow.
Great news. Now, a little. I don't know. We're really small, so it's quite an honor to even be part of this list with some of the really big guys like Korn Ferry and Russell Reynolds and A.T. Kearney and others. So
sure. All right. So one of the things we wanted to talk about is this pandemic has impacted everybody, everywhere, doing everything. And so we were kind of curious how it has impacted your business, or maybe on the flip side, people are still looking for jobs out there, C-level people. But I know talking to other headhunters, a lot of those jobs have been put on hold. I don't know what the situation is with you guys. Have you experienced a downturn or?
Yeah, a significant downturn. Now it's partially due to the markets that we focused in on, which is Detroit with its strong auto focus has been one of our primary markets. The West Coast has been another. The West Coast still remains strong, but Detroit has gone to almost nothing. We typically have 15 to 25 searches underway at this time each year, and we're down to 3.
Ooh.
So, and none of them. There's only 1 in Detroit.
Okay, so what industries have been hardest hit in this downturn?
Well, I think some of the more obvious ones, like automotive, has really been hit hard. I think I talked to a lot of people who are at auto suppliers who have been furloughed, and they're not sure when they're going to be coming back. And then you've got real estate, who wants to buy a office building anymore or manage one, because people are going to work more from home. You've got travel's has been reduced, hospitality, restaurants, hotels. Those are the areas that I think are hard. They are the hardest hit, and I think will continue to remain down for quite a while. What do you guys think? It seems to be what's the new normal going to look like?
Yeah, I wish I knew.
That's a very good question. One of the things I think that this has told us is that a lot of office jobs don't really need to be office jobs. Like what I do for a living at Lawrence Technological University is basically, I call people up on the phone, I take notes on what they say, and I turn those interviews into articles for alumni magazines and websites. I don't need to be in the office for that. The only thing I need to be around for physically is taking pictures of events and the occasional collaborative meeting, which we now do on Zoom like this. So, taking pictures of events is the only, and I think there's a lot of jobs like that, but there's also a lot of jobs where you have to have, personal contact with people face to face. And it's going to be really interesting to see how those jobs ramp back up. Everything from, say, dental and medical practices to, shopping. Some people still like to look at clothes before they buy them. I really don't know.
And the other thing is, are they going to let you try the clothes on?
Oh, no kidding.
Right? Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that one. Yeah.
Well, I know the dental offices here in Michigan, I think it's this week that they're going to allow them to begin to reopen. Same thing with the physician's offices. But a dentist has his hands in your mouth
Yeah.
So
Doesn't get more intimate than that.
yeah,
It
no,
really doesn't.
that's about as like dicey as it gets in this new world, right? So I don't know. I guess the gloves but even so, I mean, they can't be 6 feet away if their arms aren't that long.
Yeah.
Dentists have been careful for a very long time about this stuff. I mean, at least the dentist I go to is, everybody's got, face shields and masks, and they had all that stuff on before this even happened. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So getting back to if someone is out there, I mean, maybe are you guys? Let's start with you, Gary. Are you gonna maybe expand beyond Michigan? Is that one way to cope with the fact that Michigan's dried up here, or what?
Well, we do searches nationwide, but historically about 50% have come from Michigan, or 40% Michigan, 40% West Coast, and then we get scattering of jobs in other areas, and I expect that'll happen. But that's a good question. I'm beginning to think about how we get more of our presence in front of other people. Now that can all be done remotely, of course. I don't have to physically be there. And we as an organization have been participating in online CIO events put on by primarily HMG Strategies. One of my partners and I are part of panels. So maybe that'll help.
Okay. Now, if somebody out there, I mean, I imagine job searches are still going on. Some of these people, I don't know whether the C-level people would be laid off, but certainly a lot of other people aren't going to be returning to their old jobs whenever the new normal, whenever that is. But I mean, at your level that you're searching for, are you seeing these jobs just simply going away?
It's a good question. I don't think the jobs are going away. I think companies have cut back in positions. The CFOs have said, I want to wait to see what happens on the other side of this before I authorize commitment for new hires and, new capital investments. So I think it's delayed hiring. And the question is, when is it going to come back? But it's also dependent on different industries too. Let me make a comment about what I think is the good news here. If you think about who are the heroes of this pandemic, clearly it's the frontline workers, the doctors and nurses, the people who are doing deliveries. It's the people who are keeping us safe. But think about what's behind all of that. And I think the people are going to recognize the second heroes in this whole pandemic are the technology people. All right. Can you name a company that has been able to survive without a comprehensive and flexible IT plan? Right?
Yeah.
How many companies have been able to pivot to work at home so quickly? All right. How are so many of us be able to stay at home and still do shopping, still do telemed, if you will, which we've done. And when you think about who made that happen, it's technology people. And I think the people when I think about leaders for the future and jobs coming back, I think the demand for technology people who have led through the pandemic, who have created the environment for this kind of quick pivot, who understand what can happen to the company, are the kind of people that are going to be in increasing demand. And I think that's going to start coming back, I hope, in the next 3 or 4 months.
So Gary, that's a good segue to the next question I had for you, which was, if you are indeed looking for employment these days, how does one go about making your background fit this new normal?
Well, I've got one piece of advice. There's sort of two conflicting things here. Most companies, when we do search, are looking for people with an experience in their particular industry. And yet, if you look at certain industries that might be going down, like I said, the commercial real estate, maybe automotive, all right, hospitality and things like that, where maybe we're not going to see the jobs come back as quickly. I don't know how people pivot as easily from those jobs into other areas. But the advice I have to people now who are looking for jobs is, first thing you need to do is start thinking about how what you have done has enabled companies to survive or thrive through this pandemic. All right. What have you done to help your company become more digitally present, if you will? How have you been able to help your company do more remote work, do more remote delivery, do more and better logistics? And whatever it is, start writing those success stories down about what you did and what the results are. And you can start creating, I think, a compelling case for why maybe other companies should consider you for a job that might be outside their industry.
Interesting. Yeah, because again, it gets to, well, that's it. I mean, people that are solving these problems, this problem is not going to go away anytime soon.
No.
I think it's going to be with us until maybe this time next year. Hopefully the vaccines will get out sooner than that, but we don't know. Hopefully the antibody testing will get out sooner than that, so you can figure out who's had it, who can go back to work, who's safe. But that's anybody's guess. So yeah, it really is best practices. I mean, what did you do to keep your company functioning when everybody had to do it virtually, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I think part of this pivoting, if you will, to a new industry or being able to explain your capabilities, I think you also have to educate yourself as to what others have done, and think about how that, what others. I mean, going to these online conferences, reading what people are talking about that they had to do to get their company to just even survive,
right.
And some that are even thriving through this, and then start thinking about what do you think each of these industries is going to look like on the other side of this. And I think we've got some early indicators of that, because there's some successful companies out there. You know, more work at home, more home delivery, more telepresence, whatever that is. It could be stuff like what we're doing now with remote meetings. It could be telemed. I don't see teledentistry. That might be a little challenging, but.
Yeah. All right, now take the pliers and put them inside.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Put the robot over here, and
yeah.
Right.
No,
So Gary, I know, Gary, like all job search experts, you've always been a huge proponent of networking whenever you can, and really what networking is all about is giving of yourself to others. And how do you do that in this current environment where there aren't, Bob and Dave's pink slip parties anymore? There aren't events like that anymore.
Well,
how do you go about doing that?
Well, it's networking is all about contacting people and offering your help or asking them for help. And then the key to every network is to stay in touch with people and think of it as a two-way street. Reach out to the top 30 or 40 people that are in your networks. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them if you can help them. And they'll ask you the same kind of thing. And then maybe reach out to them and say, what are you finding? What do you think the new normal is? I think engaging your network in a productive conversation that helps educate you and helps educate them is if nothing else, getting you ready for when the job market turns around.
Okay, we've only got about a minute left, so go ahead and do the plug here, Gary. Tell people how they can reach out to you, find your website, that sort of thing, and hopefully we'll get you to higher up in the rankings here for next year, right? So.
Okay, yeah. Well, our website is execsearchpartners.com. And one of the recommendations we make, we have a document out there called 12 Steps for a Highly Successful Job Search. And download that and download a sample resume. One of the keys to presenting yourself for any job is to have a resume that looks like you're as strong a fit for that position as possible. And we have a revised resume format and some revised advice in our 12 steps that we've added this year about how to improve your chances of being considered based on the resume alone.
All right. Thanks very much, Gary Erickson from Executive Search Partners.
Traditional four-year students love Lawrence Technological University's thriving campus life, but LTU has always met non-traditional students' needs too. Lawrence Tech offers over 100 degree and certificate programs that can get adult students started or back on track. And most of our classes are conveniently offered evenings at our beautiful Southfield campus or online, so you can balance your social, family, and work life even while you power up your career. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.